This is Nice Wander, and welcome to the NOWMAN Show. Matt Orfalea is a viral video blogger and maker with special interest in universal basic healthcare, music videos, and aggravating his grandmother. Matt, welcome to the NOWMAN Show.
Thanks, Dan. And as universal basic income, I'm all for single payer, but universal basic income.
Did I say single payer? Oh my God.
You said universal or basic healthcare.
Did I really say that? Wow.
I believe
okay.
so. I don't know. Hey,
it doesn't matter. It's
maybe,
universal
doesn't
basic
matter. I like them both.
income.
I want universal healthcare and universal basic income.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's universal basic income. So welcome. Thanks for being on the show. Let's start this with a video called Boxes and Bags. This is Matt Orfalea.
If I want what's inside the box, why do I need the box? And inside the box, there's a bag.
And then when I buy it, they bag the box with another bag. And then another bag because the bags are so cheap they break. Then I gotta put the bag in a box and 2 bags in my car, which is basically a box with wheels to get back to the box where I live. Then I unpack the car, unbag the bag, unbag the box, unbox the bag, enrich the bag so I can finally eat. And then I gotta put the bags and box in a bin, drag the bin to the block to get picked up, to truck, to dump, and boat by the billions to Bangladesh to save a few bucks. At best, the boxes are buried or burned into our biosphere, or a baby bird might bite a bag with his beak and stop breathing. That's some bullshit.
Matt, now you're originally from DC, and
Yes,
you were here in LA for a while. I'm assuming you were here making videos, right?
I was, yeah.
That was your work.
I moved there to work in television. It was reality TV, actually. And hey, it was fun, enjoyable work, but I was always like, I always wanted to work on something a little more meaningful, get a little more satisfaction. Yeah. And so luckily with YouTube and technology nowadays, anybody could make a video, put it out on the internet, and with free distribution. And I was surprised to see that Boxes and Bags video. It got picked up by some large French Facebook page with millions of followers, and it's just got so millions of people have seen it, and I don't even speak their language, but luckily, yeah. So they put on some subtitles, and it's the internet for you. I freaking love the internet.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, obviously, I think I know what the inspiration is behind that. I mean, it's insane, right? Well, we'll get into a little more serious topics like right now. But you were making like funny videos, like even with your grandmother Rose, right?
Yes.
What did you do to aggravate her?
Let's see. Oh well, just by I think existing, I aggravated a little bit. Well, just our points of views are just very different, but because we're family, ultimately she's a very sweet old lady, and we do get along. But just like any family, really, we have that dynamic where you got totally different perspectives. She's a Republican.
Oh wow.
She's watched the CNN all day. I prefer the internet for obvious reasons, and I want to give everybody free money, which is not really on the Republican platform these days, but not on the Democratic Party either. But it should be.
That's right. You're absolutely right.
And I would love to argue why that's the case. Green Party actually has put it on their platform.
That's right. That's right. I want to get into that real quick, but I do want the audience to see another quick fun little video that you did called Abigail ABC to show this little animation fun. It's only 20 seconds or so. Let's watch it.
A is for Abigail. B is for box. C is for claustrophobia.
Okay. Just making sure that, I know what's going on with by the way, the YouTube audience out there is watching live. Hello. Thank you for watching.
Hello, YouTube.
Yeah, wherever
Hello.
you are around the world. Now, what are your favorite kinds of videos to make? Do you have a favorite kind?
Well, I
Subject matter-wise
definitely
or whatever?
Originally, I loved comedy and animation, and those are some of my earlier YouTube videos. In addition to pranking my grandmother and stuff.
yeah.
But I don't know if anybody's familiar with Shane Dawson, but I collaborated with him a little bit, just making some comedic animations, and that's where I started. And then, like I said, I just honestly, what happened, Dan, is so I'm doing all these just like fun, silly videos in my off time, and I had a decent job, just editing reality TV. Then I had an injury, an overuse injury. I couldn't really work. I could not work.
Wow.
And I had a surgery, and so I was just stuck. Usually I was, like making content, and so for the first time in a while, no work, definitely depressed, and I just had time to just consume information and just read and watch documentaries and stuff. And I don't know, I just learned a lot about the world and our situation, our country, and just learned that there's a lot of stuff that needs more attention. And so I was definitely inspired to, when I was finally able to get back into it, I was inspired to try to make some videos that had shared like important messages. Like the need for, sustainability for the environment and economic justice, which we'll talk about.
And really, it's environmental justice now. It's what it's becoming, as far as the environment is concerned. The climate change and the global warming and all that. It's environmental justice. I mean, Bernie Sanders was right to call it that. You made a video. And definitely when we get in the panel discussion, we're going to get into the guaranteed income. But I did want to mention this because it's huge, huge news. And I first became aware of it through a Swiss referendum. I have family in Switzerland.
Me too.
And it got 40% of the vote. I think that was 2015 when they had the national vote on that. And I said, oh, that's interesting. I never heard of that before. And then I found out, that actually FDR had mentioned it as part of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and then even Richard Nixon, Tricky Dick, and then Dr. Martin Luther King, as we'll see in a panel discussion later. But all these people like Elon Musk and former Labor Secretary Robert Reich and former Finance Minister Yanis Varoufakis of Greece, and who else did I see? Bill Gates. I mean, and then this week, the huge story that our mainstream media did not cover was, if you heard, I'm sure that Mark Zuckerberg did the commencement at his alma mater, Harvard, on Thursday, I believe it was, or Friday, and he mentioned guaranteed income. And I want to read the actual quote about it. Every generation expands its definition of equality. Now it's time for our generation to define a new social contract. We should have a society that measures progress not by economic metrics like GDP, gross domestic product, but by how many of us have a role we find meaningful. We should explore ideas like universal basic income to make sure everyone has a cushion to try new ideas. That is a huge story this year. Matt, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, that was huge. I first found out about the idea also because of the Swiss referendum. I think the referendum launched like 2013. They finally voted it in 2015. But when I heard about them, just that they were going to vote, that they had a referendum, I was like, Jesus. I mean, it really blew my mind, and I just the idea of it sounded crazy. Free money for everybody. It sounded good. I mean, in my situation, in most people's situations, but I did a lot of reading about it, and it really does make sense, Dan, because it's, in the Declaration of Independence, we say everybody has the right to life and liberty.
That's right.
But in a capitalist society where everything's determined by money, you have no right to life or liberty unless you can afford it. So, and obviously, okay, 1 in 7 people are in poverty.
Yes.
Simple solution, and hey, this is MLK's words too. The simplest solution to poverty is also would also be the most effective: a guaranteed income or a universal basic income. And what's so great about this idea is it really goes across all ideologies. Socialist redistribution of wealth. Anybody that says they're for eliminating poverty, which is, all political parties will say that.
They'll say it.
They'll say it. So if they really mean it, they should support this.
That's right.
Even libertarians and conservatives would have many reasons to support this.
That's right.
The largest would be it would eliminate government bureaucracy of our current welfare system.
That's right.
Why force so many people to fill out all these forms, jump through all these hoops, basically apply for the right to survive, for enough money to survive? I mean, that's kind of messed up, especially when we have more than enough resources for everybody.
That's right.
More than enough. Throw away 40% of the food we produce, and there are 5 or 6 vacant homes for each homeless American. So the issue is not that there's not enough to go around. The issue is that people don't have access to money.
That's right. That's right. And that's the way our system is set up. Our system is set up on money. That's what we exchange. I mean, we can't always do barter when you have entities that expect you to give them money. So, not everybody can be a volunteer, and you got to have money if you're going to volunteer, even. So it's common sense, and anybody who understands this would implement it in a second.
Yes,
so it's the politics basically that keeps any progress from happening, and unfortunately we're seeing so much of that in this country right now, just to the point where we have to have these discussions over and over and over again, and it becomes more and more interesting at the same time. So our job is to talk to people about it, and it's great that you've made those videos and that you can make them go viral.
I try, Dan.
Yeah. Now let's also.
And it's so, yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's so great to just have like a little part in helping inform everybody. I just play like a tiny part, and I know the panel that's going to come on after this, and everyone's got is helping out. It's great. Sorry to cut you off.
It's fantastic. I'm glad you can be with us. It's fantastic. Let's look at another video looking at the more serious side, and this is of course a video which is called the myth of, let's see. Is it the myth of work? Yes, the myth of work, I believe. No.
Oh, there were 2. Well, I got 2. The myth of time,
The myth
which
of
is
time.
the MLK
That's it.
one. Okay.
Let's watch the myth of time.
We must honestly admit certain things and get rid of certain myths that have constantly been disseminated all over our nation. One is the myth of time. It is the notion that only time can solve the problem of racial injustice. And there are those who often sincerely say to the Negro and his allies in the white community, why don't you slow up? Stop pushing things so fast. Only time can solve the problem. And if you will just be nice and patient and continue to pray, in 100 or 200 years the problem will work itself out. That is an answer to that myth. It is that time is neutral. It can be used either constructively or destructively. I'm sorry to say this morning that I'm absolutely convinced that the forces of ill will in our nation, the extreme rightists of our nation, the people on the wrong side, have used time much more effectively than the forces of goodwill. And it may well be that we will have to repent in this generation, not merely for the vitriolic words and the violent actions of the bad people, but for the appalling silence and indifference of the good people who sit around and say, wait on time. Somewhere we must come to see that human progress never rolls in on the wheels of inevitability. It comes through the tireless efforts and the persistent work of dedicated individuals who are willing to be co-workers with God. And without this hard work, time itself becomes an ally of the primitive forces of social stagnation. So we must help time and realize that the time is always right to do right.
All right, that's great stuff, man. I'm so glad that you make videos like that.
We got to give MLK a little credit. You know, what can we say? He has a way with words.
That's to say the least. You know.
Yes. And
what are you planning to do next? I mean, what as far as making videos? Where are you going to make more videos about the guaranteed income, or what can we expect to see? Collaborations,
yes,
perhaps?
I'm definitely working on some more videos about universal basic income, also known as the guaranteed income, and some of those include MLK sound bites. That speech. I mean, it's just amazing. It's so his words are so relevant today still, and it's just a reminder that, God, I mean, Bernie Sanders was saying that same stuff, you know, against Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton was going, we can never have universal health care.
Yeah.
We will never have it. That's insane. And the amazing thing is, we forget that everything sounds crazy. Everything seems like it'll never happen. Like, you know, right to vote for women, ending slavery, civil rights. I mean, it all sounds crazy at first. And then the idea, it's also just interesting to see that this same argument the same way that people have dismissed Bernie Sanders and his ideas nowadays, MLK was dealing with the same kind of thing.
Yeah, I know. We're going to you're going to join us, right, for the panel discussion that's going to be coming up
I
next.
would love to. Sure.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We're going to get into more detail about all these things: the guaranteed income, healthcare. You know, so we have a healthcare, a Medicare for all kind of single payer that's on the table here in California. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Democratic Convention here in California. We're going to talk about environmental crisis, public banks, which is going to be a discussion in future NOWMAN shows coming up later on this year. As a little preview, we're going to definitely be talking to some experts on that subject, literally right here at this table. So we're looking forward to that discussion. There'll be some comedians and some Democratic socialists, so I'm glad that you can join us, and we're going to have some fun with that. What would you like to say in closing right now? What are your final thoughts?
Let's see, final thoughts. I'll say that, well, luckily I got a little talent from my experience cutting teasers from reality TV. So I can cut a little teaser from MLK, but I'm telling you, the whole speech is worth listening to. It's called Remaining Awake Through a Great Revolution, and it was delivered at the National Cathedral 4 days prior to his assassination.
Yeah.
MLK's speeches, it's great. You can just go on YouTube, listen to his full speeches. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, totally.
And still so relevant.
I know, and all the sermons and the speeches that most people are just familiar with the "I Have a Dream" speech, but there's so much material out there, and we're going to see a little bit more in a clip coming up too that a lot of people may never have seen before, but it is absolutely amazing stuff. Matt, it's great having you on the NOWMAN show, and this is Nice Wander, and you are watching the NOWMAN show.